To defeat ISIL and organizations like it, we must defeat this ideology in all its forms. As evidence emerges about the backgrounds of those convicted of terrorist offenses, it is clear that many of them were initially influenced by preachers who claim not to encourage violence, but whose worldview can be used as a justification for it. We know this worldview, the peddling of lies, that 9/11 was somehow a Jewish plot, or that the 7/7 London attacks were staged. The idea that Muslims are persecuted all over the world as a deliberate act of Western policy. The concept of an inevitable clash of civilizations. We must be clear, to defeat the ideology of extremism, we need to deal with all forms of extremism, not just violent extremism. And we must stop the so-called non-violent extremists from inciting hatred and intolerance in our schools, our universities, and yes, even our prisons.
Operator, how may I help you?
Oh, hi. I'll tell you what it is. It's something that is kind of a serious matter, but it's also kind of paradoxically also kind of ridiculously funny, but it is serious.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what it is. You may not have be aware of this, but David Cameron, our Prime Minister, gave a speech to the UN a few days ago, which is now on YouTube. And in the speech, he said that we have to go after not just violent extremists, but also non-violent extremists. And if you just bear with me, I'll explain to you why I'm calling the police in a moment. But now, he then gave an example of non-violent extremists as people who, for example, think or say that the Jews did 9/11, right? I don't know if you've heard of that idea before. Have you heard of that idea?
It's not for me to comment.
Oh, okay, fine, no problem.
Please go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So now the thing is, don't get me wrong. I actually don't really believe the Jews did 9/11 because there's no evidence of any kosher food being ordered on any of the flights, and I know how much Jewish people like their kosher meals on flights, even if it was the last one. So I don't believe that, but I do think, I do question the whole thing, the whole narrative. I don't understand how the buildings came down so quickly. Then there was Building 7 that disappeared, and I also question I question very strongly the repercussions of 9/11 and what the American and British governments have done since then, taken away our liberties. Yeah, so I do question that quite a lot, and therefore it made me wonder perhaps I might be a non-violent extremist, and I'm seriously considering kind of handing myself in, and I just wanted to know what you thought about it and how I go about that.
Okay, I'm not a police officer. We're a control room, and if you believe that you might be, you might have done something criminal, then yes, you need to go into the police station.
Right. Well, it's not so much that I think I've done something criminal. I don't know. It's just that I think that I might sort of be in the category of the people that David Cameron said we need to go after. So I do, because I question a lot of the constructs of society. So I'm shall I just go into a police station, or can you put me through to someone? How does that all work?
What's your name?
Well, I'm known as Al. And you? What's your name?
I'm Janet.
Oh, hi, Janet.
Hi there. This is your first name, or is this what you're known as?
That's just what I'm known as, Al, yeah.
And what's your first name?
No, that's just what I'm known as, Al.
Okay.
That's it.
You don't want to give your details over the phone, or?
My details? What do you mean by my details?
Your name, for
Well,
example.
I'm just known as Al. That's my name, isn't it? Sort of.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So your first name you don't want to give over the phone?
Well, I'm just known as Al, but what? And do you need any other information?
Your first name and surname, address.
Oh, do I have to legally have an address? Do I need?
Do you not have an address?
No, I'm asking you. Does a person have to have an address?
I'm not a legally qualified person. I'm not a lawyer or solicitor or anything like that.
Oh, I see. So if I don't have an address, is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. You've been extremely helpful, and thank you. And you come out beautifully on the recording. Okay, have a great afternoon. Bye.